everybody, welcome to my big cooking show, episode 8, Shashuka, bless you as well. So, do you like Shashuka? Have you had Shashuka? Shashuka very often, it's a Middle Eastern dish, and it very often is served, and most traditionally served with eggs as the protein. But you don't have to stick with eggs for the protein. And tonight, dinner for the Dixons is Shashuka. I still have some fish, so we're gonna do fish Shashuka. It's simple. It's possible if you make it at home, you won't want to spend what they charge in a restaurant. But remember, you're also, enjoying the ambiance, and you're, caring for the waiters and the waitresses and everybody. I'm gonna turn the heat down just a little bit. I've got onions and garlic going. You want to be really careful about burning garlic, so you want to add it after the onions have kind of sauteed and got a little translucent. And then I've got some peppers, part of almost half of a bag of mixed peppers, frozen from Trader Joe's. I just dumped them in frozen, and now they're ready to go. So I've got that going. Let's talk about kale. I'm putting it in again tonight. Now, I've heard some pushback. Some of you are haters. Don't hate on the kale. It didn't do anything to you. In fact, if it does anything to you, it's going to make you stronger and healthier. And wouldn't it be nice to go to your doctor, and when he says to you, hey, have you been eating better? You could say, I've actually been hiding kale in my food. And the doctor might say, hey, that's great for the kids. And you're like, actually, I'm lying to myself. But this is a good lie to tell yourself. And I promise you, it's yummy. So I'm putting some really good chopped, maybe it's you're not chopping, or when you've had kale, it's been in big pieces. I've chopped it pretty finely, so it kind of gets a little more relaxed, a little softer. I've taken out the stalks, and I'm just gonna saute it down before I add the tomato sauce, because it is yummy. Now, I would usually do this with, the feta, darn it. I forgot the feta. I will go and get the feta for the final shot, because the feta doesn't actually need to cook with it. But here's another, and if you don't like feta, then leave it out, or you could use goat cheese. But I think fetas are really nice. The recipe is gonna call for feta, and the recipe is gonna call for spinach instead of kale. And if that's a little friendlier for you, then that's great. But look at it, it's already softening. It's already getting this really bright yellow, bright green, and it's gonna be good. So let's just, we're grown-ups. We can eat our vegetables. I promise you, it is gonna be yummy. So I've got the kale in there, and it's breaking down. I've got the tomato, or the onions, the peppers, the garlic is in there. Now, because this isn't a sauce that I'm gonna let cook all day long, I'm gonna put, let's say, 2 really good helpings of tomato paste. That's gonna give us a richer flavor, and it's gonna taste like it's been cooking all day without having to have cooked all day, because honestly, in the time that you see me cook this, and then the time it'll be another 20 minutes in the oven, and then that's gonna be it. I mean, we're talking maybe a 35-minute meal here in terms of chopping, getting things in the pot, and then going from there. Now I've got the tomato paste in there, and before I put the tomato, and you can do crushed tomatoes, I don't have any crushed tomatoes, so I'm doing diced with all the juice, but I want to get the spices in there as well before I get the juice in, because I want to I'm using dried spices, so I want to warm them up a little bit. I have got a really great Spanish smoked paprika, so I'm going to get some of that in there. That's going to be yummy and a little smoky flavor. All of the measurements will be in the recipe below. Cayenne pepper, kicking it up a little bit, and then cumin. Cumin is our friend. If you don't have a big thing of cumin, I actually buy cumin all the time, and then I end up having so I had a big container. You might have seen me use it for the curry a couple last week. And I was like, oh, I'm just gonna dump it all in. And then I thought, oh man, am I out of curry? Nope, I had one of these little pods, and a lot of times these little pods are cheaper than the little bottles. So look for these in your store. Or if you are like me and you're gonna love cumin, just go get the big one because it's so yummy on so many different things. I use it in my taco mix, I use it in my fajita mix, I use it in my curries, I'm using it in my shashuka. So I've got cumin, paprika, cayenne. I'm gonna put a little salt in here, but I had salted the kale, which helps it break down a little bit. I'm gonna give it a little bit of regular pepper as well. And while I've got the pepper out, I'm gonna go ahead and pepper the fish because I haven't done anything to that. And these pieces are actually looking a little bit bigger than I was thinking they were, so I'm gonna break them up actually into halves. Excuse me, oh man. It is getting to be allergy season. Okay, so all of that is there. All of these guys are moving and shaking. So we're gonna add the tomatoes, right? And I'm gonna add a little bit of water just to get the rest of the sauce out of that. Now, I don't know where my masher is. I'm gonna get out my avocado masher because I wanna get those tomatoes. I have some frozen ones in the freezer, and I was thinking about using those tonight, but I did not get those out, and I would want those to be thawed before I put them in. Oh, this is gonna be good. So I'm just using the avocado masher. You know, it's all in the same drawer, but I don't know where my potato masher's gone, so here we are. That looks like that is enough. That's good, right? Oh, that's gonna be really good. So, we've got all of that going. The sauce from the diced tomatoes is gonna get in with the tomato paste and give that a good kind of thinning, which is great. Oh my gosh. The color here and the smell. I wish you could smell the garlic. It smells so good. Now, are you a garlic lover? I am. I'm a huge garlic lover. So this would also be really good with mushrooms in it. This would be really good with with eggplant would be great. But that's not a traditional shashuka. Traditional shashuka has red sauce. I mean, I've obviously tweaked a regular shashuka. It usually has onions, it usually has peppers, usually has tomatoes. Any other vegetables you want to add is going to be your own flair, but don't be afraid. I mean, very often somebody will say, oh, can I have that recipe? And really a recipe is just a stepping off point, right? It's just a place to kind of go, hey, I think I might want to do that. Now, this needs, here we go, just a splash of vinegar. Little splash, okay. That's good. Get this mixed up a little bit more. Now, oven has been on, so I actually baked a chocolate cake earlier and divided the chocolate cake so we wouldn't eat the whole chocolate cake. And I put half the chocolate cake in, I did it in bread pans, and so now I have two. We'll eat one small one, and then the other one I'll freeze. And when we hit I need a chocolate cake fix, or I have too much milk, and what would I do with that? I will bust out the other one. So this is looking really good and soupy. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut my fish. Oh, yeah, here it comes. I'm gonna cut my fish into 4 pieces. Now, a traditional shashuka, like I was saying, would be with eggs. I think I said that, with a poached egg. So you would just make 4 little wells, or how many ever folks you're planning on serving. Wash my hands a little bit. you just make a little well, right? So you just make a little space that you're gonna put the protein in. So I would crack my eggs individually into another little, you know, ramekin or a little dish, because here's the thing. Actually, I think I want my oven a little hotter. They're gonna poach, and you don't want to break the egg into the shashuka, because then you could end up with shells. Sometimes you get shells. So you just make this little tiny well, and then you're gonna put the fish or the egg right in there and kind of give it a little bit of a brush of the sauce on top, and you're just making a little tiny cozy place for it to cook. It's basically just gonna poach the egg, and it's gonna poach the fish. And I'm gonna bake it for 25 minutes on 400. Actually, I thought I was thinking 325, 350, but that's not enough. I wanna make sure that the fish is really cooked. And I mean, part of the reason I'll do shashuka for us sometimes for breakfast, but I will poach eggs for myself, and then I'll scramble 2 eggs for Peyton, because he doesn't really care for poached eggs. He's not a huge fan of the runny yolk. How do you feel about the runny yolk? I love a runny yolk, but ironically enough, when I was younger, my Nana made me a fried egg, oh my gosh, almost every morning. In middle school, in high school, she would call up and she'd be like, Cheryl, what do you want? And I would be like, I would like fried egg, please. And I would eat the yolk, so I would dunk my toast in the yolk, and then I would eat all of the white, but I wouldn't eat the yellow and the white part together. It probably wasn't until, I'm gonna say, my mid-20s, late 20s, before I ate everything, if I ate the yellow and the white together. And ironically, I'm gonna say, I was in my early 20s, and I was visiting family in North Carolina, and one of my cousins, actually my aunt Jo, said, oh, you don't eat the yellow and the white. And I said, oh, no, I don't like it there. I don't mind if my food touches in other places, but that was just kind of how I had eaten them my whole life. And she said, that's exactly how your dad ate them. And that wasn't a memory I had of my father, was how he ate his eggs. So that was a really fun kind of thing to kind of go, oh, I eat my eggs like my dad ate my eggs. How fun is that? Are there particular foods that you eat or that you don't eat because your parents either didn't introduce them to you when you were kids, or because you didn't think you liked it? Or I'd love to know if you have a couple of food things like that. So you can see the fish is covered. Now, if I had the feta, I would put the feta on top. If I was going to cook this with spinach, I wouldn't have cooked the spinach in with the sauce. I would have put the spinach in probably now and then put the feta on top of that. But now it's ready for the oven, and this looks like it's dinner. Okay, friends, thanks for stopping by. Hope that you're well, hope you're being safe, and I hope your dinner is yummy. Love from New Jersey. Okay, you have got to see this. Look at this, look at that. Baby. Usually you would have 4 little dots of perfectly cooked yolks. But tonight, underneath the shashuka is perfectly cooked cod. It's what I had in the freezer. That's what we're doing these days. Bon appetit.